start with a little bit about what's happened to myself in the last couple of days. We have undergone a transformation within my company, a rename of the company from Intuitive Health to Vivify Health. And in that experience, I've learned to both love attorneys and hate attorneys because of everything that led up to that. But it's been a fascinating experience. It all happened on my birthday 2 days ago with the launch of an organization and a new team. But I'm here to talk to you today about transforming healthcare with modern conveniences. And we all have them. We all have those mobile devices that have changed our lives in so many ways. And I'm going to ask a couple of questions. How many of you are now starting to buy movies over some sort of consumer electronic? Raise your hand if you will. Okay. How many of you are buying more of your music over a consumer electronic device? Good, good. And so many other things. How many of you are now taking more photos and videos with this device than you did with that big monster camera like these things? It's transformed a lot of what we do. So how can we apply these to different industries? And certainly healthcare is where we'll be talking some. And so we know these technologies can completely transform what we do. We just gave some examples. And the reason they can have this impact is because we're people. We're consumers. And as people, we want what we want. We know exactly what we want, when we want it, where we want it, and how we want it. So we just went through a couple of good examples of that. And when you have something like this in your pocket, or at home, or another consumer electronic, it's a new method. It's a new mechanism. It's a new way to transform something you've done so many times. And so we've got to find ways to apply this to various industries. And so we talked through photography and how it's changed everything, and the new video cameras. The one I just pulled out, it's a high-def video camera. It does everything for me, the movies and so forth. But let's talk now about one that's near and dear to my heart, and that is the service industry. You don't see the same imagery up here that you normally see a line up here, but they'll probably get it up in just a second. And the service industry is near and dear to my heart because I have founded 3 companies. And my first company was one that was a transformation of the restaurant industry. So a little bit of history about myself, what led to this. I'm a geek at heart. You've heard a few others up here, that the engineer types that have this same mentality. How do we apply technology in a way that can transform things? And so very early in my age, about the age of 14, this was the early 80s, I was working with every known computer, okay? So it started with the Atari game consoles. I'm sure a few of you had Atari game consoles, and then on to the PCs and the Amigas and everything. I had them all, so pure geek at heart. And realized that I had this knack for creating things with this technology. And my father, I was fortunate enough to have a father that was an entrepreneur and grew his company to a nationwide company. And he had a need. He saw what I could do with technology. He said, hey, you know, this technology thing, it looks like you might be able to help me with my business. And can you help me manage my inventory and reduce the losses? And there were thefts and so forth in his business. So I took a Atari, I think it was a 1200, 800, who knows. It was one with the keyboard. It was a game console. And he took me to his executive team, had me make a pitch at this young age for how technology could transform their business. And within a year, after they accepted my gracious offer of, I think, $10, I'd written a software program. And actually it turned into some other revenue streams for me at age 16. I was able to buy my car from what my father had given me the opportunity to do. But I had applied this game console / computer into a transformation for his business nationwide. It was a tremendous experience for me, and that led into my passion for technology. So fast forward to graduating college, moved to the big city of Dallas. So I live here, folks, and in fact, my 2 children were born in this hospital. Great hospital. And so after moving to Dallas, I went to work for a small company that had some devices for monitoring mainframe computer rooms. And I had created the visual software, which is my passion, everything visual. Behind that, a lot of algorithms, a lot of engineering principles that together made a combination that quadrupled this tiny company's revenue. that software for monitoring mainframe computer rooms went into NASA's data center, Southwestern Bell Data Center, and many other data centers across the country. And I realized at that point, I've got this unique knack for taking things that are very complex, putting visuals in front of them, and building platforms. So I went back a little further in time. While I was in college, making money in a restaurant like most of us have done, I saw that there was a challenge that host staff had in restaurants. So I formed a company and produced a product that was called ProHost that was ultimately acquired by OpenTable.com. And so that was a lot of fun. As you can see, it's very visual layout of the restaurant, applying mobility. And then from that, we had a doctor that saw what we did with restaurants and said, man, can we do the same thing for emergency departments? And so we all know what an ED is like and the disasters that they're getting better. And one of the reasons they're getting better is because we've been able to apply processes, technology, streamline operations. And so my second company was MedHost. MedHost is in 400 hospitals today. I think almost 50 million patient visits have gone through this product. And we've been able to transform inside the four walls of the hospital. And for us, that was a big thing and exciting. So my eyes were open to healthcare. It changed me forever. I'm able to help people. And for me, that's huge. And apply what I was blessed with, visualization of data and processes and putting those engineering skills behind it. And by the way, as I've grown, I'm 47 now, I was able to apply those engineering skills to running companies, hiring the right people, putting the cogs together. And as you heard from some other recommendations, firing people at the right time as well. So what's next? What's next for healthcare? How can we take those consumer electronics and do what we do so easily at home and deliver care in a completely different way? So we all know it's there. We can pull it out of our pocket and do everything we want to do. Your patients know it too. They're in a tough situation. Long waits, weeks, months, hours in the emergency department. We've got to do better. The technology's there. So what are those technologies? The tools are clearly obvious. We have high-speed networks, all wireless. We've got these things that are as powerful as what mainframes were 15 years ago. Amazing power. And we've got new health devices, wireless health devices, and many more coming. I'm sure you've all seen those things in the news about the implantable whatever. That's going to change everything. Those are all going to be wireless. So the tools are here today, and the consumers are going to demand it. So how might it all work? Well, you've got the doctor. Patient sees the doctor. May go through that waiting process. For this transformation to occur, that doctor's going to have to say, here's an app. I'm going to prescribe this app for you. It's going to help change things. Behind the scenes, we're going to help take care of you, but it's going to give you the tools that you need to take care of yourself. Not completely. We'll be there. We'll be monitoring you. And so with this, there'll be new models of care, new transformational teams that will be put in place outside the four walls, possibly inside the four walls. It doesn't matter where they're at because it can be all wireless, all cloud. And they'll be working together to communicate to what's going on with that patient, exchanging data. And this isn't simple. It's very simple to the patient, and it has to be very simple to the provider, or you won't get the adoption. But behind all that are those complex cogs that make a big difference. And for it all to really work, it has to work within your processes, with the systems that you already have in place. It has to integrate so that as a doctor, you can say, hey, this patient really needs that help. Places one order, and I hate to say it, but could care less at that point. But when that patient needs their help again, that data should be at their fingertips. So that integration is crucial. So bringing it all together with a new process, new technologies, new methodologies, these things can happen. So behind the scenes, I've already mentioned some of this, making it all work, again, isn't easy. There'll be different types of processes. This is just one scenario where caregivers will be involved that are outside the four walls. So it will be family members as well. We all know that if mom gets out of bed, at noon, why did she get up so late? Maybe I should get an alert for that. And my mom, I'm going to go visit her tonight up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. She's 84. She might be in her last months, but she's at home. She's happy, and she's doing great. And this total system involving every possible caregiver is going to have a big impact on how we collectively deliver care. And carrying it all through the back-end technologies so that everybody's aware at any time. So let's talk about the healthcare consumer. We spoke of us, the everyday consumer, and what is a healthcare consumer? So this was brought up earlier, Fitbit, or was it DITS? I'm sorry, one of the two. No offense, I apologize.
Sorry.
So this is the healthy consumer. Great product. There's going to be more like it. Fantastic. There's only so much that can do for, of course, the unhealthy. I'm not going to bore you with the numbers. You all know the numbers. They're amazing. They're scary. They're changing our landscape. And you know that everybody's going broke. The country's going broke. They blame healthcare. They blame a lot, but the numbers are real. And if we look at, this is one that continues to shock me, the healthcare spend overall is greater in total than all these other industries here combined. Greater than transportation, farming, information, IT, my livelihood, and mining combined. It's pretty amazing. And if we look at the numbers that are changing over time, where we're at today for an office visit, where we're going to be in far less than 10 years, we've got to fix it. So we all know the numbers are there. We all know that something must be done. So let's go back to this. The consumer, the healthcare consumer. People want what they want, when, where, and how. So it's our job to figure out how to do this. And it's not just technology alone. So I'm up here as a technologist, as an engineer, and I can tell you right now, I don't care how slick the technology is, if you don't have good people with the right, with the right intent and the right processes, any technology will fail. But you have to make that technology as easy as possible for everybody involved. So what is it that the healthcare consumer wants? It's immediate care. And we're talking about the unhealthy healthcare consumer. It's immediate. When? They want it now. Okay, and then, so they don't want to have to go wait in the ED. They would like that care now, and they know that they can get other things now with this device. Why can't they get some of this care now? And where do they want it? At home, of course. What a better place. Or on the go. It doesn't have to be at home, just anywhere but inside those four walls. Now, how do we do it? So you talked about some of the technology, but now let's talk about engaging that patient. Today's population, the high-risk focus that we're geared at delivering most of our care to, and those that cost the system the most, like my mother, they've never used one of these devices, ever. You can't expect to give them an iPad, an iPhone, an Android, whatever, the new Microsoft phones, and expect to know how to use it. You have to give them something that to them is intuitive, it's natural, and it doesn't have all the scary things that comes with the typical smart device. So you have to lock it down and engage with them. Those are my two boys, by the way. And integrate with their lives. So you make it spiritual if you need to. You make it personal. And you engage their family members with this. And then you can transform. So you also integrate with those other technologies, those things that can provide you with the information that you need. And you also connect it on the back end of the caregivers in a way that's meaningful so that anybody can use it. Because a lot of those caregivers, they don't like the technology either. You know, they use it for their taking pictures. But when you get to complex things like this, you don't want to be in front of the keyboard all day long. And so you also make it flexible so that you can cover any condition. It's not just for the CHF. It's not just for the diabetic. It's for anything you would like to apply it for. And that's a necessity. And you remember that patient education piece so that you can ensure that they know what they're doing and how to solve their own problems? Utilize video technology that you can upload any kind of video you would like to ensure the patient really gets it and knows what they need to do. And then apply your best practices. Nobody knows better how to do it than you guys. So you don't expect somebody else to come in with this and do it their way without you applying your best practices. And then you give that help when they really need it, at any time. Pass those 4 walls directly into the home and engage with that patient in the home. That's how collectively we're going to transform care. I've been blessed to have been working with THR since 2009, building a product in 2010 with THR, great leadership, and then deploying in 2011. We've had some fantastic outcomes with this technology, and it started here. And so you guys are in a great place, and I'm fortunate to be working with you guys. So together, we'll be able to transform healthcare in a way that we've never done before, and you guys are at the forefront of all this within this organization. Thank you folks very much.